What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of LOFT Talks. I am Dareus White, aka Dareus Dapri. Today, I want to talk about planning and overly planning. How long are you going to plan your year out, plan out your videos, plan out your social media plan before actually taking action? You can answer below if you want to. I say that because I went through that. I went through a situation where I was doing so much research, so much planning, collecting so many tips and tricks, and I still had yet to take action, right? That was a while ago. And as you can see, I'm taking action right now. But I had to really realize, like, okay, you have to there's a fine line between, you have to really draw the line at research and planning and really take action, because there's only so much planning you can do before you're just spinning your wheels at that point. You can gather all the information you want, but it's not until you start doing that you collect the real important stuff, which is the data of doing it, right? You learn from doing. You learn better from doing. Like the more I create videos, the more I'll know what type of videos y'all like. The more I'll know what type of videos resonate with y'all the most. The more I'll know what type of titles, what type of thumbnails, you know what I'm saying? What resonates the most. I'll figure that out more and more as I create more videos, upload more videos, and start connecting with my viewers, right? You can't figure that part out in the research level, in the research zone. You have to jump out there and do it. It's only so much research you can do, right? Kind of like how birds push the baby birds, their young out of the nest to teach them how to fly. You have to push yourself out of the nest to get some cuts and bruises and eventually figure out how to actually do it the best way. You get what I'm saying? I've struggled with my own set of doing too much research and getting to a point where it's like, all right, you just got to do it. And y'all are actually experiencing that with me. Like, this is me doing it. I've done it. I've jumped out there multiple times, so I have a little bit more data than a person who's literally just starting out. I've gone up to bat multiple times, so I kind of have a little bit more data right now. But this is me starting on a more consistent basis, and y'all are witnessing that right now. I feel like what's the worst that can happen when you start is you don't get 100,000 views off rip. Okay, now you're gaining information to know what to do to get to that big number, right? Nobody's going to get, well, I'm not going to say anybody. There are 1 in a million cases where somebody uploads their first video, their first couple of videos, and one of them takes off. That is a possibility in this world, right? 9 times out of 10, that's probably not going to happen to you. I'm not saying it won't, but don't go into it expecting your third video to get 500, 800, 1,200 views. You get what I'm saying? You have to really put in your reps. It's like in the gym. You don't go to the gym. Well, some people do, and that's why they end up falling off so quickly, especially with the New Year's resolutions. But if you're smart, you don't go to the gym and expect to do 12 crunches and walk out the gym with rock solid, chiseled abs. You don't. That's not realistic, right? Same. You got to go through more reps. You got to go through months and years to see real results. And they said, I think with exercise, it takes about 2 weeks for the results of your exercise to start actually showing up. So say I do an ab exercise right now, like I do an ab circuit, I do crunches, I do something with a medicine ball involving abs and a couple other things, right? The results that are going to come from that specific workout aren't going to show up in my body until about 14 days from now. But even then, it's only going to be this much results because that's off of one workout, which is why you go to the gym multiple times a week. So all of that working out you did can show up in 2 weeks and be a little bit of a bigger chunk. And then you add more to it. And over time, you got mad results and you've made it so far, right? That's the same thing with content creation. It's the same thing with life. It's the same thing with anything you're doing. You have to put in the reps. If I get in my car right now and I want to go to the grocery store, I'm not going to get in my car and just appear at the grocery store. I have to drive. I have to start the car. I got to press my foot on the gas. I have to navigate towards the grocery store. I have to get out the car, go in, grocery shop, get back in the car and come back home. I'm not just going to get in my car, appear at the grocery store, groceries appear in my car, and then I appear back at home. I have to go. I have to put in the effort to get there, and then I'm there. I'm not just going to appear there. You have to put in the reps, the time, the movement, the motion, the effort. You get what I'm saying? That doesn't just don't and I'm saying all of that to say don't get discouraged by your first 10, 20, 50 videos getting less than like 100 views or 300 views. 9 times out of 10, nobody knows you yet. You get what I'm saying? And I'm talking about YouTube because that's my experience right now. 9 times out of 10, nobody knows you yet, right? And I have other accounts. I'm not going to tell y'all what accounts they are because they're faceless accounts. But I have certain accounts on social media that have grown, you know what I'm saying, in number, but it took time. That's actually a business investment. Like I'm building that account up for a specific business reason. But it took time. I didn't just jump into it and see results immediately. I had to build up to that, and it's still building. You know what I'm saying? But I'm aware that it takes time. You know, your first few YouTube videos is you collecting data. Eventually, you know, you'll have so much data, you'll have so many numbers that you'll get to a certain spot. You know what I'm saying? You starting off in photography, you just bought a camera, you just picked up a camera, you just had your first 1 to 2 clients. The money ain't gonna come in that quick. It's possible you may your second client may be, I don't know, somebody very popular and they post a photo shoot and they tag you and you just get an influx of clients, which they start telling other people about you. You get word of mouth clientele and you take off. That is a possibility. I know that. I feel like that happened with Trash Hand. I don't even know if y'all know who Trash Hand is, but he I think he's still pretty popular, but he was very popular that around the time, like a couple years after I had dove into photography. I was really inspired by him when I discovered him. And I think what happened was he was only taking pictures with his phone, and then I think like shortly after him getting into photography, he kind of took off. If I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But that's not a common occurrence. So you have to put in the reps. You have to get more clientele. You have to reach out to more people. You have to build your portfolio. It's not going to be overnight, but it's worth it. Don't get discouraged by the fact that it's not overnight. Nothing really is overnight besides 1 in a million cases. And just because you're not a 1 in a million situation doesn't mean stop or get discouraged or think you'll never make it or think it's something you did wrong. You're doing everything right by continuing to move, by continuing to create, by continuing to go. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not a failure. You just have to keep going and just make sure you learn along the way. You realize, oh, when I did a photo shoot with this client, I held the camera this way when I really should have positioned it this way so that I can get them in this crosshair. And it would, you pick that up. Okay, now you know that next photo shoot, you realize, oh, I should have put my lighting on this side instead of that side so it could come down like this and those shadows wouldn't have been there. No, okay, now you know that. Like you pick up this stuff along the way and apply that to any other field, not just photography and not just like YouTube and all of that, right? You have to do your reps so that you can pick up knowledge and data to keep going. Don't let that discourage you and make you think you're doing something wrong. As long as you're still moving, as long as you're collecting that data and paying attention and learning as you go, you're doing everything right. I'm talking to me and I'm talking to you. Oh, and make sure y'all follow me on my socials. It's in the description box below. Feel free to comment. Feel free to talk to me. You know, you want to see some other topic discussed. You want to know my opinion on something. Let me know in the comments. Talk to me on social media. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Until next episode, peace.